Hello there, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel for DSR Ghostwriting. My name is Daniel Rosell. I'm a writer and marketing consultant, and I run DSR Ghostwriting, a writing agency focused on helping tech individuals, entrepreneurs, companies, and agencies to develop and execute thought leadership campaigns. So a question that prospects will ask, or if they don't ask me, that I know some of them are wondering, is whether it's best to go with a freelancer, a agency, or a ghostwriter for a thought leadership project. If you're looking at doing thought leadership, and I've talked about the various benefits of thought leadership that Edelman and LinkedIn, among others, have found. So there are definite benefits, and when people are looking to execute on that, a lot of people, firstly, there's one option missing in that list, actually, which is, could we do it ourselves? So a lot of organizations are in the mentality of farming out work. Certainly if organizations can do it themselves, if you have a good writer on staff, particularly one who understands the difference between content marketing and thought leadership, is quite essential, because really those are two similar but slightly different activities. And if you're not clear on what those differences are, then please check out, I have a separate video on this YouTube page outlining that. So if you have someone, that's great. There's no reason to outsource just for the sake of outsourcing. But if you do need to look outside your organization for resources to make this work, then those are probably the choices you're looking at. So let me just run through those. So basically a freelance writer and a ghostwriter, believe it or not, is actually kind of the same thing. So I market myself as a ghostwriter because the majority of what I do is ghostwriting. The difference is the byline. Do I get credit for what I write, or does the client? And for me, since I started this, I mostly ghostwrite. It mostly gets attributed to my clients. So speech writing, blogging for corporate executives, white papers, not really, because it's more to a company, but those activities would be ghostwriting. So that's really what I focus on. But I'm essentially a freelance writer. I don't brand myself that way. More increasingly, I use the term marketing consultant because I'm doing more consultancy style work. But for most practical purposes, from your perspective as a client looking to get someone involved in thought leadership, a ghostwriter is just a freelance writer that ghostwrites. They don't get credit. Some freelance writers do mostly get bylines for content marketing, and then you have ghostwriters. Ghostwriters traditionally meant people who worked on books, specifically who ghosted books for people. Nowadays, the term is a bit wider, and so many ebooks are being ghosted. Social media, you could argue social media either way, but if you're being liberal about the definition, then that's a form of ghostwriting. If you're ghostwriting someone's social content. So freelance writers, that's what they are. The upsides is they're very small, so they tend to be affordable versus, let's say, hiring an agency. You can also typically engage their services ad hoc, so you don't need to sign up for a expensive retainer or a 6 or 12-month contract. That's a big advantage of freelancers, is you can dip in and dip out of using them as your requirements evolve. Next thing to say about ghostwriters is ghostwriters, specifically if you want someone who really does ghostwriting and just ghostwriting, they know all about the ghostwriting process. That includes how to protect your anonymity. They should have a way figured out for sharing samples in a manner that complies with their various contracts. So ghostwriters know the ghostwriting process inside and out. The downside of that is ghostwriters may not take a byline even if you want them to. That's something I've done for many years. I've loosened up a bit recently, but if you do want someone to write for you, but you actually want that person to take credit for the piece, you should actually ask, if you're hiring specifically a ghostwriter, make sure they actually would do that. Agencies. There are many agencies out there: content agencies, marketing agencies, inbound agencies, PR agencies. You can find a lot of them using a website called Clutch. The advantages of working with an agency is you're dealing with a bigger organization. So they have a bunch of different expertise in-house typically. So, whether we're talking about somebody who can do, they might have a social media person dedicated, they might have a PR person. So if you're hiring an agency, you're getting not one individual as you do when you're getting a freelancer, you're getting a team with different skills. So if you want to do a white paper and you need both a writer and a graphics designer, if you go to an agency, they can probably do everything for you. If you go to just a writer, they may not have a referral partner in place for their for graphics design. So that's something just to bear in mind. Downsides of agencies is they tend to be expensive. You have to, and they tend to ask for commitments to retainers. Not all of them do, but that's the typical billing model for them. And those retainers can be expensive, and you have to pay the retainers even when the agency isn't doing a lot for you. So that's just a reason to be cognizant of that. Agencies can be expensive, particularly in the case of a lot of early stage startups. Hiring PR agencies before they have really a justifiable need can end up blowing through a lot of budget for no good reason. So those are the advantages and disadvantages of when it makes sense to hire a freelancer, when it makes more sense to hire an agency. They have different purposes, they have different times, and really it's a question of what suits best your business. Hope this has been helpful. If you'd like to find out more about DSR ghostwriting and the type of services that I offer, thought leadership, planning, and execution, then please check out my website at dsrghostwriting.com. And you can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook page. Thanks for watching. Another video coming up soon.